didn't quite make sense. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, are you ready to start?
All right, we're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
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 We are starting. Welcome to our fight. So, my name is Moran Stella Yanai, and I'm 41 years old currently, and I was kidnapped from the Nova Festival, being held captive for 54 days, which these days I'm not saying the amount of days because I feel like awkward to say 54 compared to 603 days, which is unacceptable in no way. But on October 7th, which is what I live till today, for us, it's not a year and a half passed by. It's the same day, every single day, till everybody will come back. I was at Nova, I came as a vendor, and basically came first time to a festival, first time showing my jewelry in that, size and amount. I was working on it for day and night for 3 weeks, thinking that this is gonna be the great opening, and this is me starting my new journey, And the entire night was bad hunches that I couldn't explain.
Yeah?
Bad hunches that I couldn't explain. There was a video that was posted a few months ago that shows some of the footage of us that night, and I saw my body language. I was so close body language. I was not dancing. I was on the side. Could not explain what I was going through, And then at 6:29, everything shattered. 2 rockets in the sky, and like many testimonies that I'm sure you heard, there was non-stop bombing, rockets, grenades, RPGs, everything that you can think of was on there at that time. And
How quickly from the rockets, they shot the rockets first, I assume, and then broke through? So was it just like explosions everywhere, and then
the
it was...
rockets was supposed to be, to be confusing us.
Yeah.
To not know that at the same time they shot those 2 rockets, they entered Israel at in some points, and then just waited for everything to become a chaos.
Yeah.
They were not expected that everything will be open, and they will come, and they were not expected the amount of people that were at the Nova Festival. So it felt that they were celebrating their big own festival, And for us, for me especially, I was at the Nova Festival till 5 to 8 in the morning, which means that at that point we are completely surrounded, not knowing, rejecting everything that I see. I served the army 22 years ago. I know what I hear, I know what I feel, and I keep resisting it. That cannot be happening, And we didn't run at the beginning. And at that point, we didn't know that there were terrorists on the other side of the festival. And one of my friends, he tried to protect me as long as he could. And he gave me that cue that I was so afraid to hear. And he said, start to run as fast as possible. And like I say in my lectures, nobody taught us how to be that hopeless. And nobody taught us how to maneuver or driving in a car between screaming people. And every time I say it was completely chaos, because when a person having an anxiety attack, then the best tool for him is to look up for another reaction. And I saw some people laughing, and I saw some people dancing, and I saw some people running and screaming, and it's like we didn't understand what is going on, That's completely chaos. And that's it. That was me starting to run.
How long between the initial sounds that you heard did you see actual terrorists coming through?
So in my story, I felt protected. I didn't see in my eyes the terrorists and the dead bodies, but the car that I was in with my friends running away, we were shot at the car.
Yeah.
We see bullet holes on the car. They saw bodies, they saw the terrorists right behind us. We were trying to escape them for 5 hours. So it was like completely putting an effort for trying to save my life, not fighting them back at any point. And at one point, we were completely lost. We didn't know where to go, because at any turn we took, we were shot at. And we managed to grab the police over the phone, and they gave us a command to get off the cars and go hide in the trees. But, at that day, there were 45,000 calls to the police, which came to so many places in the country because they didn't have the amount of people to help us. So they didn't understand the situation and the place that we were at. There was no place to hide. And they gave us the command to get off the cars, and we were trying to hide. We were 5 people.
So you did get out of the car?
We got off the cars. We didn't know what to do,
Yeah.
Every second you feel that this is gonna be over, right? It's gonna be over soon. It's not. It's keeping on, keeping on, keeping on. And the amount of anxiety that I felt at that point almost exploded my brain, I almost fell asleep because I couldn't handle the situation. I was so terrified that it was, okay, maybe I will fall asleep and it will be over, it's a bad dream or something. And we were cleaning on each other, and I don't know how to explain it, that,
Nice to meet you.
this is one special person, if he wants to speak. This is Michelle, this is the guy,
Dave, nice to meet you.
this is Guy's father, and Guy was taken hostage and was murdered in Gaza,
And he's still in captivity.
still in captivity.
Yeah. Already 603 days.
Yeah,
It's a shame.
and still counting, unfortunately.
God bless you.
Thank you. Bye.
When I see them, then my body starting to shiver, because when I'm telling their story, it's like I feel plain that I got back home, Whew. And it's not passing by us at no point of time, Whew. Okay. So at that point, we were like cleaning on each other, thinking that, the person sitting next to me, he must know what to do at that situation. But, I saw all the hairs, like goosebumps. And the guy that I was like counting on, he's scared. He's trying to protect his girlfriend. And I understand that I'm by myself, And I called my dad. I was trying to put myself like really calm, and telling him that this is not a joke. We are being shot at. We need to get off and go hide in the trees. But everything is okay. And that's the last word he heard from me, because he couldn't understand. He thought that I'm being over dramatic, And my mom called, and I didn't want to answer because she's Moroccan. I'm afraid of her, But she called, and I texted her, I don't have a battery, I love you. And it's like I deleted the I love you, because I don't want to say goodbye, I'm not saying goodbye from nobody. And really trusting that this thing will end. But then 40 minutes later, it's not only artillery sound anymore. We hear it screaming in Arabic, and they're coming towards us. And that's it. That's the point that you need to run as fast as possible. And I didn't see my friends anymore at one point, and the terrorist was right behind me, holding an iron pipe, like about to beat me up in my head. And I didn't have no other point. I had to jump from a high place, and I jumped, and I hit my leg, and he jumped after me, was about to beat me up. And I could never explain a person, no matter how much I tell this situation, what I felt inside. Like something was controlling me at that point and reacting for me, because I couldn't, and I pretended to be an Arab. That's what came out from my mouth. I had an Arabic necklace on my neck, which I got as a present from my jewelry suppliers. I'm a jewelry designer. And I was trying to protect my life by pretending to be an Arab and saying, my name is Stella, my name is Stella. And at one point, he took the iron pipe down and he said, okay, enough. But then he took things from my pockets, and he told me to go on the mountain, and I didn't realize I had 2 broken legs at that point.
God.
And it's like you don't feel the pain. It's mind over body. Fight or flight, it's mine. If it's not mine, that you're not surviving this situation. And I climbed the mountain, and he asked me some question, and I don't know what happened, but he turned around and left. So in my story, I was caught 3 times. And at the first 2 times, I managed to, manipulate them with 2 broken legs, trying to protect my life, like standing still. I have one video from the first taken, and there were 2 terrorists. And on the second time, it was 10 terrorists.
What happened the second time?
I was by myself, and it was a potato field. So it's like a huge area with no place to hide. It's just ground, and it's I don't know how to say it in English, but it's really curly.
Yeah, like the
So
to cover the potatoes.
you cannot really run.
Yeah.
Also, and I was completely exposed, not able to hide. And I heard screaming in Arabic again, and I saw this group of 10 terrorists running towards me. I had nothing to do. I just sat down and waited for them to come. And when they came, again, something control over my head started screaming, you have to do what he did at the first time. And I pretend to be an Arab again. It was like a lot of screaming, and between 10 to 15 minutes, this whole situation. I don't remember so much about that situation, except of the fact that at one point he asked me, where will we go? And I was like, you're releasing me? I'll go whenever. And I'm standing on 2 broken legs still, And I think that though they heard, they thought that the army is coming because they heard an explosion, and they ran away and they left me in there. And that's it. I had no necklace on my neck anymore. I gave it as a present to try to manipulate again, doing whatever I can to take me out of this situation and survive with a situation that I don't understand what is happening. Completely confused, And I walked a few steps, and I chose to do the one thing that we were not allowed to do at that day, and I screamed so loud for help. I thought that this is it. I didn't see nobody, and then I heard screaming in Arabic from my back. I looking around, I looked to my back, and I see 1 mile away from me, 13 Hamas terrorists running towards me, and that was it. Something told me in my head, you have to let go, it's happening. And I remember I answered out loud, what is happening? And when they came, it was done, no talking. They pulled me from that tree, started to drag me, beat me up on the way. And one of them, he decided to rip off all of my jewelry from me. And he ripped everything from me. It was tons of jewelry on me. And at one point he cut my hand off, and they understood that I'm stalling them. They picked me up, and something again told me in my head, you have to let go. Release all your muscles, release your mind, because this is a situation that I cannot even imagine or handle,
Do you remember were they saying anything to you? Were they saying anything to each other?
They were screaming so loudly. They were celebrating. And I remember from the body language that they're not expecting. They're looking at me as a trophy.
Yeah.
And they don't see me even as a woman, They see me just as flesh and blood, as something that you have to eliminate or destroy or kill or whatever. They didn't even understood what to do with me, At one point, they just took me, dragged me, and they don't have a car, so they drag me by foot, and at one point they are understanding that I'm stalling them, so they pick me up, starting to throw me out from one to another. They don't see me as a human being. I'm just flesh and blood, that's it. And at that point, I always say, it's one after another, one worst case after another. And the worst of the worst is that they will find a car before somebody will find me, and that's happening. And at that point, we were 11 people inside that car, 10 men and me. And I didn't see nobody, no hostages, no people around. So I feel in my brain that this is all for me, They caught me. My friends managed to run away, and they caught me, So starting a fight in my brain. What is happening now? Am I dead or alive, And towards the way they were happy, beat me up on my head, in my legs, everywhere. And then at one point I said to myself, close your eyes. I don't want to see it. I understand what is going to happen now. Like I said, I served in the army. I know the drill. And the worst of the worst is the entrance to Gaza. Because at that point, and I want to stop and say before that, I'm a person that was just seeking for peace before. And even today I'm not using the word peace. I want my brothers and sisters back. But before that, I had Arab neighbors, I had Arab friends, I was in a coexisting living city in Beersheba. It's like we don't feel this situation that everybody is speaking about, because everybody has the same rights, everybody can walk in the street freely, and everything is okay, you know? So I always say that if somebody will stop to check who's the people that they chose to kidnap, they will be blown away.
Yeah.
Because most of us,
Because most of the
most of us
kibbutz team,
don't
they
care.
were. Yeah.
Most of us as our, you know, even in the army, in the workplace, in life, you know, they're living between us. It's not, you know, foreign. My grandmother is Egyptian. She was speaking to me Arab till I was 17. It's not foreign for me.
Yeah.
Wearing an Arabic necklace as a Jewish person, you know. But at that point, I saw entrance to Gaza. The terrorist is being happy, pulling me by the hair, wanting me to open my eyes and see. And I saw 100 civilians, 100% of civilians celebrating me being kidnapped, me being brutally, violently beaten up during the way, and they're happy. And they're screaming, God is great, and everything is okay. And the terror that I saw in their eyes was the minute that I chose to close my eyes again, because I understood that if this car will stop in the middle of the crowd, I'm done. And it happened. And the car stopped, and a few of the terrorists got out from the car, and I closed my eyes, and I felt the crowd trying to pull me up. I resisted, and everything is seconds, you know, and had no way to protect myself. Had my nails only, and I had a thought in my head that I will stuck them on the person that I'm sitting on. I'm going to use him as a human weight if they will try to pull me again. And I probably hurt him badly, I don't know, because he screamed, Khalas. If somebody closed the door, and I always say that that was another moment in October 7th that I'm counting as a save. You know, I was saved from a lynch, from being beaten up, from being killed by beating up. And I'm in the middle of Gaza saying thank you for being saved. That's the situation. And from this point on, you know, the journey starts. Do you want to look around a little bit?
Yeah. So.
Ask me whatever.
No. Okay. So you're out. You're now out, and they grab you, and then they immediately, and there's all these civilians, and everyone's cheering, and your legs are broken, and all the stuff. And you speak out. Were you still trying? So at that point, you just decided not to speak anymore, or try to plead.
No,
It was
from
just.
that point on, I had a journey till I got to the first house. I had 11 moves in 54 days and 5 different houses. And the first place I went to is the hospital. And in the hospital, I saw about 30 Hamas terrorists inside a small room, looking on top of me. One is taking off my shoes, one is taking off the thing from my pockets, and I'm saying to myself, I'm done. I'm going to be killed now, and I'm preparing myself to being killed, you know? And seconds, you know, passing by, and I see somebody's putting a cast on one of my legs. And I'm saying, okay, if you put a cast, I'm not being killed now. I have to put on every effort that I can find to remember everything and to survive, you know? And from that point on, they took me to the first house. I was thrown into a small mattress covered with a sheet. And when they took the sheet off, I saw an investigator in front of my face, and he was happy. And he was constantly saying to me that God loves me, and I was saved, and I couldn't understand what he was saying, and I was crying, you know.
Right.
I was allowing myself still to cry at that point.
And he's speaking to you in Arabic, obviously.
He was
right?
speaking to me in Arabic. I understood a little bit from what I remembered from my grandmother.
Yeah.
And at that point, he grabbed my pants, and he was angry, and he started asking, where do you serve? Where did you serve? And I was like, why are you asking me this question? I'm not a soldier. And that I understood what I was wearing. I was wearing green army look like uniform and army boots. And I started crying immediately. And he considered me as a soldier from that point on. So my journey in this whole captivity situation was really bad for me, because they thought I'm a soldier and I'm hiding information from them, and I'm 40 years old, so I must be, you know, an important officer, and why am I wearing uniform? And you need to deal with so many conspiracy that it's like, I don't know even how to deal in this situation. What do I need to do to force you to believe that I'm saying the truth, you know? Nothing helped. And with every word that I knew to say, they thought that I know Arabic fluently, and that was it for me. I was constantly behave was differently for me, inside all the houses in there.
Right. When you were moved from house to house, were you with any other people that were kidnapped, or were you always?
So after 2 hours that I was in the house, understanding that I'm in a bad situation, they brought into the room this young girl, 18 years old, barefoot, in her pajama, with long, bright hair and bright eyes. And I was like, this she is not Arab for sure, but who is she? And they didn't let us talk for 3 days. We were not allowed to speak. We were not allowed to cry. We were not allowed to think. We were allowed to sit and be still, But I was trying to communicate with them immediately.
Yeah.
Because, in my head, I need to know, what are you planning to do with me? And I need to know how to protect her, because she was so young, Eventually, I realized that this is Nogovais, and she's 18 years old, and she was kidnapped from her house in Be'eri, and her dad was murdered and still being kept hostage in Gaza, and her mother was also was taken hostage. And this is a situation that I'm in with a foreign child. I need to be her mother now, and that was the situation in every house.
And you couldn't communicate with her in any way.
Not at the
basically.
beginning,
Yeah.
and they were sleeping in with us in the room. They were always happy. They brought people from outside to see the price. This is what we brought, asking questions, telling about our stories, using conspiracies, and all we need to do is being amen to every word they say, So at one point you understand that you need to release everything. This is not yours anymore. But I have one thing that is mine from the beginning till the end. That was my mind and my faith. But that's it. They took my name, they took my freedom, they did whatever they want with me, and that's it. You need to accept the situation. But in my head, the will to live was so much stronger for everything they tried to do with me. And, I'm talking about situation because I was like the head communicator in the room. And constantly, every day was for me, starting from the beginning. I don't curse them. I don't yell. I don't do any bad behavior. I respect them, and I understand that I have to respect them because I want to be respected as well, and I want to leave, But, at one point, I had to entertain them for over 13 hours. I had to play with them cards, make them happy, make them laugh,
Good God.
And I'm hungry. And at one point, I probably said something wrong, which till today I'm trying to understand what was it. But in seconds, there was a gun pointed to my head, being threatened again and again and again. And every day was that, starting from zero, asking them, what do you want? Why are you so angry? Why are you so full of hate, I mean, how does that support you in life? Why aren't you, I always say in my lecture that the difference between us and them, that's also bad for us and also good for us. We are individuals. Each and every one of us has different dreams and goals, and we are working for that. And that was get us involved as a society, But they get up every morning for 54 days, what I saw, putting the carpet on the floor, taking their prayer, and in the prayer, you put in the purpose of elimination, extermination, and hate. Why? And I couldn't understand that till the last day I was trying to communicate with them. Being threatened with a gun, being beaten up, being abused, being starved. I was sitting there with 2 broken legs. I was sitting there with lices on my head, and that amount that I cannot explain to you because I had everything that you can imagine on my head. So physically, I was broken. I lost 8 kilos from my weight in 54 days. There were days that this is it. You have 1/2 of pita and that's it. But you smell the food that they eat from the other room. I mean, you have food. And in the Quran, it says you need to live equally like us. Even if you took somebody hostage, you need to live equally as him. And every time it was abuse in any way, but the worst of the worst was the mental abuse. Because every single day, investigation, conversation that you think that he's on your side now, but then eventually he take everything, all the information and pass it on to all the other people. So I don't know. I mean, I tried my best every single day.
And so they're moving you around. Was that because then the war started, or in essence,
Yeah.
Israel went into Gaza?
Yeah.
And they just kept moving you guys, and you just had
Yeah.
no idea what was happening.
But you need to understand that the houses were exploding not only from our rockets. There were missile launchers next to the houses, and if they knew they're gonna launch, missiles that die, they took us away from the window because they knew it's gonna be exploded. On the second day, our window was shattered, and it was not because of us, So I'm asking, you're using us as human shields. You take your own people houses and you put us in, and then you put all your other people in danger. Why aren't you protecting them? Why aren't you using this amount of money that you got like a few years ago and building shelters? Why aren't you giving them the way to be new education? Put new education in the school. Why is everything against? And that's what I say to I met one pro-Palestinian. Really, really smart person from UCLA, and he has many followers after him. And I asked him one question: if you already have that power, why aren't you trying to communicate and combine and connect that this thing will not happen again to neither of the sides? Why are you still using this power for violence, for aggression, for the wrong purpose, So I'm asking today, where are we going to? What are we trying to achieve by doing that, And eventually, I have I have my people. I will be there back as much as I can, because they took our freedom when we didn't try to fight them back, And you'll see around so many exhibitions that explains how people feel. It's not belong to the place. It's like outside artists, and they're trying to put their emotions, in this situation that we cannot bear anymore. And if you ask each and every person in here in the square, they will tell you one thing: we just want our people back. That's it.
Yeah.
None of us wants to get up in the morning and be in a war. Every one of us be sure of it. We want to leave. We like to leave.
Yeah, it could be over tomorrow if they wanted it to be over tomorrow.
Exactly.
Was there any moment that you thought you were going to be rescued before you were rescued, or did you have any sense of it? Or was there anyone, did any of them offer you any sympathy or was there any one of them that was a little better to you, or you sort of referenced that you had some that you could speak to and then they kind of turned on you? Did you see any humanity at any point? I don't even really care in some sense, or?
I really like that question because I have two faces for my answer. What is humanity? When I sat there and I looked at Hamza, we tried, maybe in his brain, maybe.
Are you talking about the UCLA guy?
No. I'm talking about one of the terrorists inside.
Okay.
I mean, one of the terrorists inside, he was trying to be good. Let's take that for example. What is humanity? If I'm hungry and no food is coming to me, and I'm looking at him and I'm saying, I'm hungry, and he says, well, Israel blocked the line of food, but I smell the food that they eat from the other room. So what is humanity? That he gave me a smile in the morning. I didn't get back home. Mm-hmm. I didn't get the medical treatment that I needed. I didn't get food. I had one day that was the day that I thought everything will be done. I had food poison so severe that by the end of that day, I had 180 pulse. I couldn't stand. I couldn't raise my head. I couldn't do anything, and I was starting to say goodbye for my family. Do you know how much water I had in those days? 20 milliliters of salty water, which he told me that that's the budget for the next 2 days. So I need to calculate the water that I drink. So I told the other hostage, trying to, showing her, I'm strong. We will survive this situation. Don't worry, we'll drink one cup every hour just to get the mouth wet, and then I calculated it will be enough for 2 days. That's the situation that we needed to be at. Did he give me medical care at that situation? Did he heard my screams that I couldn't scream because I was not allowed to scream? I couldn't cry because I was not allowed to cry. I hear testimonies of other hostages that were in the hospital with gunshots. No anesthesia. Every single day when they come to clean the wounds, no anesthesia. You feel everything when they have the option to give you anesthesia, for example.
And just to be clear, so they're eating fine. They're eating just fine. And that's, yeah.
Well, I'm looking on the small things. I had, I don't know how to say it, but I was full covered with spikes. Because when I was hiding, I was on a spike. You don't feel anything, really. But on the third day, I started to feel that, I had infections in some places all over. And I asked him if I could, I didn't ask even. I was trying to take them out by myself. And he saw it from the side and he was smiling. He brought, a pinch. And I asked him if I can do it by myself because I know it's really painful, And he was smiling and he said, no, give me your hands. And he started to take them one after another. And he didn't care that he'd taken my skin off, with it. And when I said, ow, he said, shh, no screaming. So you need to sit down like this, like a robot, and wait for him to finish, So what is humanity? That he left with me at some points, but then he shattered me with no hope to come back home? What is humanity? That he brought me maybe one extra spoon to 3 people, or when he gave me 4 showers in 54 days, when the shower is a bucket of water that I need to split to 3 people. So what is humanity? When you have the option. They did it, they were clean. They looked at us every day, they opened the door one day and one of the terrorists took the shirt and put it on his mouth. And I looked at him and I said, but you did it. You made this happen. We are not, he called us filthy, We don't have the option to get clean. They don't understand that. That's why I always say they must be educated from the beginning to understand what is human being lives. And when I see one mother in Gaza, I saw this few days ago, I was shocked.
About all her children?
No, not the 9 children.
Yeah, I saw that
one mother before that nobody heard about. And I saw that video, it's on Instagram, being so proud that her 4 children died when they tried to exploit themselves to kill other people. And she said she waited, she has 2 more grandchildren and she can't wait for them to die too. So I'm asking, what am I fighting against? It will never meet. Because we celebrate life. We're trying to, showing the living and the dead as alive. But you don't care about your own people. So what am I fighting with? And that's what I'm trying to tell. I mean, at some point I feel sorry for them. That's the life that they need to live. That they don't have the option to dream, I mean, no matter what I went through, and I'm telling you, I was abused almost every day, I still tried to take one of the captors and to explain to him how Thailand looks like. Because he never left the borders of Gaza. And I was trying to tell him that there are Palestinians in England, and there are Palestinians all over the world. Why are you closing here? And at one point I was doing him guided imagination, I was trying to take him and his wife and his children to the beach in Thailand. And his body language, she raised up and at one point like a balloon, boom, fell down and he says, no, Hamas will kill me. He doesn't have the option to think beyond the borders that he put in his mind. So again, what am I fighting with? They need to be educated all over again. any person that has something bad to say about that situation needs to be educated all over again from our side and their side too, you know? And
All right, 54 days. Tell me about day 54.
no, it's not day 54. It's day 53.
Okay.
It's actually day 49. They took us from the house and they told us that we are going home. And something felt bad. You know, it didn't feel right. And I told the girl next to me that she just need to be, you know, in focus to see that everything is okay, and I'm next to her. And they took us to the street for 4 hours, trying to get to the exchange point because we are going home. And at that point, one of the terrorists came from my back, pulled me by the shirt, whispering me in my ear, "Not you, not now." And I couldn't even say goodbye to the girl next to me. He dragged me back into Gaza, and they took them back home. And I was dragged into an abandoned house. I don't remember how long I was in there, but for me, I felt that this is it, and I couldn't really believe them because they fooled me from that point on 3 times that I'm going home, and there were daylight, and I'm still in Gaza. I'm not home, you know. So when they came to me on day 53 and they told me that this is it, I'm moving to the last house, I didn't really believe them, and that journey was the worst of everything that happened till that point. They covered my eyes. They were really violent to me, dragging me in the street. And when I got to the point, I saw 8 other hostages. I was so shocked because I saw, you know, young children and women and old women, and I didn't understand the situation because I was not exposed to neither radio, television till that point. And
Did you try to speak to each other at that point?
sure,
Like,
yeah. I mean, we have our ways, you know. We speak with our eyes,
Yeah.
we speak with our whispers, we're making marks. We found ways to speak, to communicate when it was not allowed. And really fast, knowing their story, was completely shocked. You know, some of them were from the kibbutzes, some of them were taken from the Way, some of them from the Nova Festival, and you know, 18-year-old boys, you know, 113 girl, horrible stories. But after 27 hours, when the point that they told us we're going home, till the point that they took us to the Red Cross, and we really thought it's not gonna happen. Managed to, you know, hold the last hope that you have left. And at that point, they took us to the Red Cross. We saw the Red Cross. Then we started to hear the screams from our back, and our release was the longest one because we were back home only at 3:30 a.m. in the middle of the night. And I really thought that we're not gonna see our home now screaming from the back. They're gonna come and kill us now, you know. And the entire road was really, really bad. But then I got a phone call inside the car, and the driver gave me the phone, and it was a soldier from the other line speaking to me in Hebrew, saying to me, "You're safe, you're in your way home, tell me who's injured, tell me who needs aid care," you know. And
Was Red Cross in the car with you at that point?
yeah,
And were they helpful in any way? Or?
you know, for me, everybody laughed at me because in my story, when I was released, I didn't understand that we are being filmed to the entire world, you know. And I was so happy that I was out, and you will see it if you look it up in Google, that I grabbed all of the driver of the Red Cross and to a hug, because I was really thanking them for taking me home, not knowing that why didn't you come to see us?
Yeah. I mean,
Why
they're
didn't you come
basically.
to visit us? I mean, and I was trying to communicate with that woman immediately, asking her, "Where were you?"
Did they say anything?
And she said that the Hamas is not allowing them to come into Gaza. And you know, when they went off, I took from one of them, you know, a cigarette, and she gave me the pack, and I told her, no, leave the pack because there is no cigarettes in Gaza. And she said, "Don't worry, I'm fine. I'm going back to Gaza tomorrow." It's like, "Why are you going back to Gaza tomorrow?" And she said, "Oh, we are allowed to visit the children. You're allowed to visit the children but not allowed to visit the hostages, and you're still supporting that. So I don't know what's still happening, if it's happening still today, but that's the answer she gave to me, and I was shocked, you know. But then eventually they left, we crossed the border, and I saw the first officer. She came to me, and you need to understand that I thought that Israel is burning, and I thought that I don't have a home to come back to because they fill me with lies that what is happening in
So
Israel.
what were they telling you? I mean,
They told me that everything was bombed and that I don't have a family to come back to, and nobody's fighting for me. And basically they told me that I'm not going to be released even if there will be a ceasefire because I'm a soldier, and no hope from them, that's for sure. I didn't hear one of them coming to me and say, I don't want this either. We're in this situation. Let's try to survive it, you know?
Did you believe them? I mean, if
no.
so you never feared that your family or...
No. I didn't believe them, but I was afraid on my mother. She's an old woman and she's by herself, and I'm her younger child, you know, and what am I expecting her to do? You know, what everybody's expecting from my mother to do. She was broken, you know, and she survived for me. My hope every day that don't do anything, don't fight for me, just survive, you know, just wait till I come back home, because I was so afraid that she will have a heart attack or something, and it was not far away from that, you know. And she didn't eat, she didn't drink, she didn't do anything. And even after I came back home, she didn't want to open the news because she felt bad because she got her daughter back. And there are so many other mothers that didn't get their children back, you know. So what is the world expecting from our mothers to do, or our fathers, or our sisters, or our brothers, you know? Of course they will fight for us. Of course. I have 4 different cousins that went on looking for me, you know. They didn't care that they have children back home. They didn't care that they have wife back home. They were trying just to look for me. They didn't try to take nobody else's life. And I wish that people will be just lighten up and open their eyes for a second to understand, what do you want? What do you want to get up to? That's it, it's that simple. What do you support on? I don't support babies being killed. I don't support that my brothers are being held in tunnels, being starved, being beaten, being abused, being psychology, you know, mentally war every single day. What do you expect? What do you want? That's it. It's that simple. I mean, you know, I'll take one example. When I see the gay community supporting Gaza, and I'm just asking, do you know that they don't support you?
Yeah.
Do you know that our country supports you 100%? One of the countries that fight for you every single day, like the strongest as possible. I mean, in here you can be free. So why are you against us?
Gays for Palestine is very different than gays in Palestine.
You know, I'm just taking one example. I mean, you know, I read all the talkbacks, all the bad talkbacks that I get. Not the good ones, I read all the bad ones, and I reply to each and every one of them. And I didn't get that many. But, you know, at one point, I got this message, you've been brainwashed. Are you nuts? I felt it on my flesh and blood. How do you think that I'm being brainwashed? I'm afraid of people being rejecting the truth, that deny the truth. I felt it every single day inside Captivity when they tried to build my story and it was not my story to tell. And every single day, you know, one night, there was so severe explosion and I heard one mother screaming. And it's a mother that I heard for every single day. I had my, you know, my sounds, my regular sounds that I was waiting to hear. And at that day, her laughter was screaming. And the terrorist came to the room and I asked him what happened. And he said that her child died. And I cried. And he almost beat me up for that. And I told him, I'm not crying for me, I'm crying for her. and he laughed at me. And he said, "You are a slave. You are a fox. You are a manipulator. You are whatever." I was really crying for that mother, but that was not allowed to. You know, I don't understand what else to do, what else to say that makes people understand that most of us, I will not say 100%, and I will not be angry on the people that not supporting that, because I understand them. You invade their houses, you kill their families, you took our they took our everything, and not only for us, for our families as well. My brother, my sister, they left their families. They didn't see their families for 54 days. There are people in here, 603 days. They didn't do anything but to be here and fight for their families. This is not just a one-person story. So I'm asking what to do more, you know?
Tell me about the first moment that you touched another hand or hugged an Israeli, or who was it first? It was a soldier first? So you speak to the soldier on the phone.
Yeah, I spoke with the soldier on the phone, and then the entrance to Israel, that was one officer that came to me, and she told me that my family, everybody's alive, including my animals, and everybody's together, you know. And I remember that I screamed so loudly. I understood that I was allowed to express my emotion, finally, you know. And I was picturing my mother every single day, wearing the same clothes, you know. And eventually, when I saw her, she was wearing the same clothes I was picturing in my head.
Wow.
And I said it out loud to the hostages still in Gaza, so it will not be just in my head, you know. And that only shows you, you know, how much belief and attention and goal and purpose I had to see my mother. And I manifested every single day. And when I saw her, when I saw my father, when I saw my sister and brother, you know, this is it's beyond miracle. It's beyond the best achievement that I have had in my entire life, you know, to be able to hug my family again. And that's it. For me, I was smiling. They were crying, and then we just immediately started to fight for everybody else. And at that point, that's a name that I'm taking with me everywhere. At that point, I still had one friend inside. His name is Itai Svirsky. He was 38 years old, and he was a coacher, positive person. He obeyed them. He did everything they asked him to do. And eventually one day, I was so uneasy, and I kept driving everybody crazy, and I felt something bad happened to him. And they told me nothing happened to him. I said, something bad happened to him. I really feel it in my bones, you know. And the funny thing is, I was with him only for 2 days. That's the amount of the connection. He was murdered that day, and the Hamas sent a video of his body. And I remember that nobody wanted me to see, and I forced them to show me because I couldn't believe that he was gone. And for him, I'm saying that I still have his good picture in my head, and not that body that I saw, you know, it was not him anymore for me. And he didn't get back home. And he really fought for me inside, because they kept telling him that I will not be released. And he kept fighting for me, trying to convince them that I'm not a soldier. And eventually he was murdered, and he will not come back home, you know.
Is there anything else you want to say? You said something about your faith before and belief in God, which I assume, which I have no doubt has been tested in unimaginable ways throughout this.
That's the one thing that really puts a smile on my face when I hear other testimonies from hostages that came out, how much faith held them every single day, because this is a situation that you need to surrender to. You have two options. You're either dead or alive. What you gonna do now? So I put it aside. I was surrendering, saying, you know what? You saved me so many times from a sure death, so many times, and I'm still alive. So I'm gonna take this faith on, and I'm gonna spread it everywhere I can, because that's what held us inside. We had nothing. We had nothing. And if you ask, about the 6 hostages that was murdered inside the tunnel,
Yeah.
you know that one fact is that from their body language, they were not afraid when the gun was pointed to their faces, because they accepted the situation. They have nothing to do with it, and they just try to protect themselves. That's the body language that they found the bodies. And I wish and I hope that I know that this is the only thing that makes them survive every single day for 603 days. The stories that they tell is no different than us, except of the fact that it's still going on. And how much does a person have, to hold on another day and another day of abuse and starvation? How much we have to stop it really, really fast. And I really hope that they have the faith to keep on doing it and keep on getting up every single morning. I found myself tons of times saying thank you every day, because it's not obvious that I have food in my mouth, and it's not obvious that I had water, and it's not obvious that I survived another day, but the will of life, that's what helped me. And when 2 terrorists came into my room, proudly putting their hand on their heart and saying, why we'll be okay and you not? And I said, why? They said, because we don't have nothing in our heart. We don't have emotion, and we don't care. We wait to die. Okay, we wait to live. We just want to live. We don't want to die. We want to survive. And not only to survive, we want to live. And that's the only message that I have to everybody that will watch it. Please choose what's your goal in the morning. What do you want? And if you think that something is bad, try to change it to the better, not fight against it and doing the same thing that you think you're being done it, Choose differently, that's all.
I've interviewed presidents and prime ministers and like everyone you can think of, and you are without question the most extraordinary person that I've ever chatted with, period. So
Thank you so much for everything, really.